Hey guys, welcome to another week of WoW Weekly with Myst. Today's viewing will be me healing some dungeons in Classic. This week we have a lot of stuff going on. Dark Moon Fair is in both Retail and Classic. We also have the Winds of Wisdom buff that's making a return, and that will be 50% experience to leveling. That will go into effect on reset day, and we will have it until Prepatch hits. The reason it's going to go away when Prepatch hits is because Dracthyr is going to be a playable race before the game actually launches. So in Prepatch, you're going to be able to play your Dracthyr, and of course they don't want you to have this super duper buff. Although it kind of doesn't matter because the Dracthyr starts at 58 and, you know, until Dragonflight releases anyway, 60's the max. So it's not like you'd be doing a whole lot leveling anyway. But that is the reason. Also worth noting that you need to be at least level 10. So if you're starting from a level 1... and you don't see the buff, that's normal. Only level 10 to 59 will see the buff on them. Also, we have Torghast event this week, and it's going to be the Beasts of Proto. The Fated Raid this week is Castle Nothria. This week's PvP Brawl is Comp Stomp. The weekly is the Mythic Dungeons, so do 4 to get your loot. Don't forget pick up the quest on reset day. Brewfest is still in effect, and it will remain in effect till October 6th. On the topic of Brewfest, I just want to shout something out here. Over on Classic, I am trying to do the Dark Iron event. It's an event that got removed in Retail for good reason, because it's tough as fuck if you don't have people there. Right? And no one cares about Brewfest right now because it's only been a week since Wrath launched, right? And I need some people that care. I really want my achievement over on Classic, and it's the thing that's gonna hold me back from my Brewmaster title. So anyone that's on Classic or even just wants to come help me out, because you can be a level 1 and help me out. Yeah, just come help me out if you want to help. You can hit me up on stream on Tuesday. That way we're in game together and all that. But I need probably at least 5 people there. I had 2 of us trying to do it together, and it's just undoable. Basically, the event, it's, like I said, it was removed in Retail because it's unsolable, so, yeah, but what it is the Dark Irons are, like, grabbing the beer from the barrels, and there is lots of them. Like, you need people out there to control the Dark Iron. Basically, you hit them with mugs to stop them from getting at the barrels. And it just gets overwhelming with 2 people. It's really tough, and the 3 barrels are like, kind of at each corner, so you're not really close to them, and yeah, it's just very tough. And you can't really position yourself in the center because you have to be near the beer that you have to pick up to throw at the Dark Iron. So I personally figure that if 2 people are at each barrel, then that would probably make it easier, because even 1 person at a barrel can be a little tough. But yeah, I would say 6 people, but at the very minimum 3, at least 1 person at each barrel. But yeah, I thought I'd just shout that out because it's been a bit of a struggle. And yeah, so that's Brewfest till October 6th. And then October 8th is the Great Gnomeregan Run. This is actually a community event that got picked up by Blizzard. So for like 10 years now, there's a community over on Scarlet Crusade that would do this for a charity. It was for breast cancer. And then they finally got recognized by Blizzard as the community, you know, raising money for a good cause. And so Blizzard actually put it into the event calendar. So that will be on the 8th, and it's just a cute little race. You log on to like a level 1 gnome, and you're just doing a race pretty much, yeah. Okay, and news time. So the biggest news this week is that we finally got a release date on the Dragonflight expansion. So Dragonflight will officially be releasing on November 28th of this year, so it is not getting delayed. And yeah. Weird that we didn't get a release date for the pre-patch. I kind of figured we would get that first, and then maybe they would tell us the release date on the Dragonflight expansion. So yeah, November 28th was actually a leaked date. So if we're going to go off that, there's a high chance the pre-patch is October 25th because that was the leaked date for the pre-patch. But that is unconfirmed at the moment. The only thing confirmed right now is the November 28th Dragonflight expansion release. I personally believe the October 25th because they are putting in the Dracthyr. And yeah, however, you don't need a month to level a Dracthyr 2 levels. Just gonna say. So it could be anywhere from October 25th to say November 8th. On average, a pre-patch is only a couple of weeks. There's some cases where it's been a month or longer, like 4 to 6 weeks. But most of the time, a pre-patch is just a 2-week cycle. So yeah, if we're gonna go off that, we're definitely looking at a November release for the pre-patch as well, but there is a chance it could end up being October 25th. The first raid, which is called Vault of Incarnates, that will start on December 12th. Now, the interesting factor here is that the raid will open right away with Season 1, and not only that, but it will include normal, heroic, and mythic. I think the reason it's going to include mythic is because I think they want to try to get the world first done before Christmas, because a lot of people have been kind of bitching about, you know, having to do the world first at Christmas. I laugh when I see that stuff because you know, sometimes you just gotta work Christmas, you know, like how you gonna bitch about having to play a video game at Christmas? Like, I get that people have family and stuff, but like, you could be working at McDonald's on Christmas instead, you know? Like, yeah, there's definitely worse things. But nonetheless, it gets them into the mythic race earlier. All I gotta say is hopefully this first raid doesn't have any real struggle bosses, because even December 12th is kind of close to Christmas. I know with my family, we all would always like start booking time off around the 20th. Well, we'd book it off earlier in advance, but like our first day off of work or whatever would be the 20th. Another interesting factor with this one is that cross-faction mythic will be open right away. So yeah, wasn't expecting that one. Necrotic and Inspiring from the M+ is going to be removed for this season, maybe the future seasons, but nothing has been confirmed for the future ones. They haven't come right out and said necrotic and inspiring is removed forever. They've been very careful on how they word it, and they say is removed for season 1. So yeah, I think they're toying with it to see if anyone misses it. It is the 2 that people bitch about the most, so that's probably why they removed it, and they're just gonna see, how many people, it sucks sometimes when people, bitch about something, because it's always streamers, right? Like, yeah, so it's like, what small percentage of people are the reason you're removing these functions, right? The only good expansion for M Plus was Legion. M Plus has kind of sucked since Legion ended. I just kind of do it for gear. As for you guys that do LFR, LFR will have 3 wings. The first wing opens up on December 19th. The second wing opens up on January 2nd, and the third wing will open up on January 16th. I think this is a good schedule too, because December 19th is right before Christmas, gives you a chance to, just quickly queue in, check out the bosses you have access to, and then when you come back from your Christmas holidays or whatever, you've got the second wing available, because that would be the day after New Year's. So yeah, I think that's a great system. Back on the topic of M+, I know I'm bouncing around a bit here, but here's the list of dungeons that you will have access to. So we have 4 Dragonflight dungeons, 2 Legion dungeons, 1 WOD dungeon, and 1 Panda dungeon. Extra news that kind of upset me, to be perfectly honest, but that is that this raid is group loot only, and that does include LFR. So LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic will be set to group loot, and that means that there's no personal loot system in there. You can't just walk in, kill a boss, and get gear. You will have to roll on it, greed or need. Trade restrictions are removed. There's going to be 3 item level tiers, so entry level, wing end level, and final boss. Certain bosses will have 1 item that intentionally drops at a higher item level, no Titan forging. BOEs will no longer drop from random trash. Instead, they have a once a week lockout to drop from lieutenant trash, which could guarantee a set number of BOEs each raid. I imagine there's going to be some people pissed about that, because farming BOEs, especially raid BOEs, is a pretty popular thing. More important, BOEs will be dropping from weapons to higher item level pieces. My biggest issue with all this was definitely the loot system. I am a transmog farmer, so I like the personal loot system. When it comes to actual upgrades for me, I guess rolling is nice, but the thing with the personal loot, and this might be an unpopular opinion here, but when it's personal loot, I don't really know what other people got. Like, I don't pay attention to their loot, right? Unless someone shouts out in chat, hey, I don't need this, roll for it. I don't care. I'm not one of those people that's like whispering people, asking them if they need what they looted. Like, you looted it fair and square, it's yours. And it just sucks to see that gone. And I'm gonna tell you what kind of player I was before personal loot, and you're not gonna like it. And that person's coming back if they're gonna be bringing group loot back, which they are. That is confirmed. And that person is, well, I main a druid, and, well, my druid has 4 specs, so there you go. There's point number 1. I'll be rolling on every spec possible for the druid. Second, my druid's an enchanter, so even if she doesn't even need the gear, I'm gonna roll need, because who doesn't want some enchanting mats? Not me. Like, I'll take all the enchanting mats I need, I got guildies that could use some enchants. And then, of course, there's the transmog gear. There's the transmogs that maybe I'm a way above the item level in the LFR, but that's an appearance not collected, and I'm not giving that up, right? If you are gonna change it to having to roll on the gear, I'm gonna need everything. Anything that drops, I'll just be needing it all. You know, because the way I see it is that could have been my personal loot. I'm not giving up on, you know, any loot that I could potentially get when I, well, if it's LFR, I've worked my ass to sit in queue with probably a bunch of people that don't know how to raid. And then if it's normal, heroic, or mythic pugs, I've been in many pug groups. Like, those kills do not come easy. You work your ass off for every single kill there. Now, if it's guild, that's a different situation. When it comes to guild raiding, you know those people. It's totally different. Like, yeah, I don't mean to be that person, but if I know you and you're a guildie or a friend, like, and I loot your gear, yeah, I'll pass it over. Like, I wouldn't do that to a friend or a guildie, but if I'm in LFR or a pugged raid, you're a nobody to me. I really don't give a shit if I'm stealing gear from you, you know, and that is the fact, right? And that is a prime reason why group loot should not be coming back. So, hopefully, after I've needed all my gear, and I'm sure other people will do the same, hopefully they realize that that was a stupid fucking idea. They have mentioned that they are gonna do some rules to it, but the thing is, what kind of rules are you gonna do? You know, like, worst case scenario, you make it so I can only loot leather. That still means, like, when I do those LFRs, those are transmog runs to me. I don't run LFR for gear, like, for my character. I run them for transmog. So, even if you restricted it to leather, there'd be a lot of probably tank druids or healing druids that could have used that gear, but because you know, changed the system, you know, me personally, I get a little vindictive when things change that I don't like. And, yeah, I'm more likely to toss you over gear that I looted as personal right now than I will be in Dragonflight. And the reason for that is because they've now fucked over my transmog farms. And, yeah, eye for an eye, man. You know, might not be Blizzard I'm fucking over, but it's gonna be someone who's gonna complain one day, and when they maybe report me and they put the reason, maybe Blizzard will, you know, realize that that's their fault. Anyway, that's my little rant on that. I advise everyone to need the fuck out of anything that drops, because it is now every man for himself, the way I see it. But on a plus note, I will say group loot is a better option than master loot. Master loot is definitely the one you only want in guilds. So to make this clear, this is not master loot coming into the picture. This is group loot. There's a big difference. You know, master loot, the leader of the group technically could loot everything. They hand it out. They hand out, you roll on it, they open trade, give you the gear. Group loot is where you roll. So greed, need, pass, whatever you want to do. And then, of course, personal loot, it's just evenly distributed, you know, however, which way. We all know what personal loot is, right? Yeah, so those are the three differences there. So group loot isn't the worst. Group loot is basically like, if you're playing Classic, that's what's over in Classic. Group loot. And it's not a horrible system, but it's just not designed for transmog farmers. That's where I have the big issue, is that, you know, as a transmog farmer, I always kind of felt okay when I would get something that I don't need, because it was my loot. It was personal loot, right? No one can bitch about it. Blizzard, like, just automatically gave it to me, right? But now I gotta go back to feeling like an asshole every time I fucking need on something that I'm needing on for transmog reasons, you know? So, yeah, and unfortunately, I'm a collector, so if I've got a choice, it's like, don't collect the item or be an asshole and collect it, I'm always gonna choose to be the asshole and collect it, you know? Like, you get nowhere in life by not collecting it, right? So yeah, it's just a little unfortunate. I think, personally, I think there should be a choice. You know, just throw it all in there. Have master loot, have group loot, have personal loot, and let people choose what kind of loot they want. But I will say, this change, it's one of two things. It's gonna make me play the game less, or it's gonna turn me back into the asshole I once was in World of Warcraft. You know, as the game got more casual, I got nicer because the game catered to the casuals. The worst part of group loot, let's say you go into a raid and there's no clothies, which would be kind of weird, but let's just say there's no clothies in your raid group. Some of your gear's gonna be cloth gear. It's not gonna matter that there's no clothies. See, that's the nice part of personal loot. They kind of know who's in there, right? But with group loot, they just drop whatever. Doesn't matter who's in there. So that's, in a sense, a waste of gear that maybe people could have used. You know, it's the same thing with weapons. Like, let's say you don't have any hunters in your group. You could potentially have a bunch of bows dropping throughout your raid and no one able to use them, right? Okay, so moving on, and on the topic of hunters, let's talk about some more tames. So we have some more hunter tames. Hunters are getting a bunch of stuff, mainly because there's a new family, right? There's a new lesser dragonkin family, so that's why I've been covering tames like every week for a month now. So there will be the Hornswog. These are them, little dragon frogs. I really like the green and the blue one. They look awesome. Very familiar frogs, right? We have some mounts that look like them. There's the Fey Darters. This colorful one is actually a regular pet in the game. I'll leave the video I did on it at the end of this one. It was a secret pet. And yeah, so you can check out that video. I love the colors of this one. And then this blue one looks really good. Yeah. I'm definitely a person, like, I'm a very plain person, so yeah, I really like the one color on that one. There is this one, another very colorful one, mainly orange though, orange and purple, I guess. But there doesn't seem to be a tameable version for this one, so this one's up in the air. But I would not bank. I guess that sounded funny, up in the air and they fly. But I wouldn't bank on this being tamed, but also don't give up on it. It might be a tameable later on. And then these four guys are the Veil Wings. They look okay. I'm sure they'll look better when their wings are all kind of out, but yeah, they don't look too bad. I'm not a huge fan of having like the huge dragon-sized pets beside me. Yeah, I'm a little claustrophobic, and I know this is going to sound weird, but I get a little uptight if my pets are like too much around me. There's too much in my space, you know? As you guys know, like my UI, a lot of people have like their nameplates right beside their characters. I don't. Mine are like way off in the corner, and the middle of my screen is empty, right? There's like nothing near it. And yeah, I need things to not be too close to me. You know, a couple of big dragons beside my hunter just wouldn't swing well with me. Yeah. Next up, we have a small little minor quality of life change. So this is the backpack that you will have over on Dragonflight, unless you're still going to use your bag add-ons. Normally, you can only track 3 currencies at the bottom here. You will now be able to track 8 of them. I personally have never tracked the currencies. The add-on that I use for my bags is Addy Bags. And when you first install it, they have all the currency at the bottom. And what happens is, because the currency is laid out at the bottom, it makes your add-on bulky. Basically restricts where you can kind of situate the box, more or less, right? So I always cleared it so that I could have because I like my bag add-on as small as possible. I don't like anything too terribly big on my screen. So I'm not sure if that impacts it as well. I don't believe you can adjust the size of the backpack, so I don't think it's going to matter in that situation. I think that's the size of your backpack no matter what. This bag one, though, is actually pretty good if you're not too into the add-ons. The bag add-on I used to use before Addy Bags was Bagnon. And this is basically Bagnon. That's exactly what it looked like. One huge box, everything in the same place, you know, and it's got the sort up there. It's got your money tracking. And yeah, I would say, all in all, if you're not like me and feel you need to organize where everything is, you don't need an add-on anymore. The only reason I'm still going to use Addy Bags is because I can organize things. Like, I've got an area that's just quest items. I've got an area that's profession materials. And yeah. But like I said, if you don't care about that kind of thing, you can just throw it all in. Yeah. I think they did a good job on making it so you don't need a bag add-on anymore. Okay, so next up, some transmogs. Last week, I went over some of the tier set transmogs from the Vault raid. We have 4 more. So this is the Priest set, starting with LFR. I'm just going to say, that is an amazing color for being the easiest mode out of all 4. Like, wow. Yeah, I can't believe that's the LFR one. Normal, which is yellowish gold. Heroic is blue, and I also really like that one. The mythic one is purple. So this is the PvP Elite set. And this one is the PvP Gladiator set. As for which one I like the best, easy answer, this one. The Gladiator PvP set. Yeah. Unfortunately, two problems here. One, I never even attempt to go after Gladiator. And 2, if I did, I would never do it on a priest. Like, anyone that knows me, priest is my most hated class. Like, yeah. Yeah. So, unfortunate. But those of you that like priests, yeah, you should go after Gladiator. Next up, we have the Rogue set. So here is the LFR Rogue set. The normal Rogue set. Heroic. And we have Mythic, the Elite PvP set, and the Gladiator PvP set. So it definitely looks like the colors are the same for everyone. I can't remember what the colors were in last week's. I'd have to go back to my video and the timestamp of that. But the colors for each version seem to be good. I'm going to say, again, I like the Gladiator PvP set the most. And there's a solid, like an actual reason for it for this one. And that is that, I don't know about you guys, more specifically you other rogues, but I am not totally liking the look of it. And I feel like the purple makes it look good, you know? Like, I don't know if that came out funny, but yeah, it's... If a set looks bad, throw some purple on it. Okay, next we have the Shaman set. So this is the LFR, Normal, Heroic, Mythic, Elite PvP, and your Gladiator PvP. Guess which one I like the best, guys. You'll never guess. You don't know? Okay, I'll tell you. The Gladiator PvP. I know. It's super shocking. Okay, so let's go to our final transmog piece here. Okay, so this is the Demon Hunter set. This is the LFR, which actually looks pretty good. I like the green and the purple. Granted, the purple is the skins, so I guess we'd need the barber shop for that one, right? Okay, so they're all gonna be purplish. Okay, so the green set, the normal set, the heroic set, and the Mythic set. The Mythic set looks pretty badass. I like it. This is the PvP Elite set. And the Gladiator PvP. This is where I am gonna actually shock you guys. And the one I like the best is actually the PvP Elite set. I feel like it works better with the Demon Hunter. So on the topic of tier sets, there was an article releasing all of the bonuses for all 38 class tier sets. My voice is gonna go away if I just list off that. Yeah, we can't risk losing our voice right now. It's kind of late at night. I want to finish the video. So I'm just gonna link it into the description, so if you're curious of the bonuses for your particular class set, just go to the description of this video. There'll be a link there, and you can just go to the article yourself. Okay, so this past weekend stream, I had made the comment that we had learned that we could start purchasing transmogs on alts. Well, bad news, good news. Bad news, that was a bug. So, yeah, that was unintentional, and it wasn't supposed to be working that way. Due to that, the community was upset because we were all excited that you could go buy transmogs and ensembles and stuff on alts. So they did change something. So in this blue post, you see that it says, with that said, we recognize players don't want to have to re-earn the ability to purchase these ensembles, but we don't want to create a problem where a player might unintentionally purchase an ensemble of the wrong armor type, use it, and then not find the armor they thought they just unlocked. So in Dragonflight, the ability to purchase the cosmetic Renown unlocks will be unlocked account-wide and can be purchased with all characters on the account that match the ensemble's armor type. So a little restriction there, but it's better than nothing, I guess. Now, this next one was very interesting to me. So, Resurrection Sickness in Dragonflight is gonna change. So, we know it to be the 10-minute buff it is. It is gonna change to being a 1 minute instead of 10, but there is a negative effect to that. And that is that characters that resurrect at a spirit healer below level 10 will suffer 10% durability loss, and characters that resurrect at a spirit healer above 10 will suffer 50% durability loss. Now, I think this is a good one because who cares how much you just repair, right? The important part is that Resurrection Sickness will only be a 1 minute debuff. Like, that is the important thing, because you really have to, like, ponder how bad you want Rez Sickness, because that's 10 minutes you can't do anything. I can waste a little bit of time here and there, but what if I want to play at that point? Like 10 minutes of, I could go get coffee in less than 10 minutes. Where I got confused is that they're doing this in retail. Like, who even fucking dies in retail? I only die in retail if I'm raiding, or I'm in a battleground, like it has to be group content for me to be taking deaths. So I'd say raids, Mythic Plus, and battlegrounds. You wouldn't have a spirit healer in those. Yeah. So I'm just not understanding why. I feel like something like this would be so much more beneficial in Classic, where you can actually die from doing a quest or something if you don't pay attention, But in retail, it's like, how often would you even use that Rez Sickness, So that really was my confusion, was the fact that, they're putting it in a game where when you're out there solo, you're not dying, If anything, you're taking on way more mobs than you should be able to. So next in news, we are getting a new emote. It is the Quack Emote. And I'm not gonna lie, I laughed my ass off when I read this one, because without saying anything too bad that might get my channel in trouble, I'm just gonna say the Quack Emote could be used for bad. Yeah. I definitely can think of some insults that involve quacking. So, yeah. But we'll see. I am honestly kind of impressed that they would even add an emote after all the crap they just finished doing, removing emotes. It does remind me a bit of the Cluck one, though. Wing flapping animation and, just like the chicken does, yeah. Here's a picture of the Season 1 Dragonflight PvP mount. This is the Vicious Sabertooth. Also some new info on the Frostbrood Proto Wyrm mount. And that is that there is actually a deadline. When I originally did the video for this mount, which I'll also link at the end of this video for those that don't have it, there was no deadline. We weren't given one. So for those that don't know about this mount, it's super easy to get. All you gotta do is go into Classic, create your Death Knight, level it until you get to your main city hub and you've handed in the quest to your leader of your faction. That is when you're done. And then you just log into retail and it'll just appear. So the deadline is actually the Dragonflight release date. So I guess that's what they were waiting on. Maybe they were just waiting till they did that announcement. A part of me wonders if they had maybe hoped to have the release date of Dragonflight announced before Wrath Classic started up, or even Prepatch. So, yeah. But there's your deadline. So if you haven't done that, you have till November 28th. Also on the topic of mounts, the dragon riding. So this will make your renewed Proto Drake have an appearance similar to Razageth, which is pretty cool because I mentioned right off the bat, even with my many things I dislike of Dragonflight, I did mention that I did like Razageth. I thought he looked real badass. So to have this mount have his appearance is good. Currently unknown where you get the customization, but we do know that you can have a customization that resembles him. I personally think he's gonna be high-end content. He's the last boss of the raid. I would almost bank on you having to do mythic raiding to get him. Either that, or it could just drop from him on whatever difficulty. Maybe it's something you can farm on any difficulty, but it has to be on the final boss. However, if you do get it that way, I would not be surprised if it was a very low drop rate because, to be honest, one of the biggest reasons I don't like dragon riding is because everyone's going to be on the same mount for a really long time. And really, it would only make sense since all the other customizations are super easy to get. It would only make sense for this to be a more rare drop so that you feel a little more special being on it. And I have one final piece for Dragonflight news, and that is the Threads of Fate and storyline being kind of combined. So basically, if you're leveling for the first time in Dragon Owls, you'll continue going through the Waking Shores storyline. All characters will instead receive the quest Adventuring in the Dragon Isles, and this quest allows you to check on a map drawn by the Dragon Scale Expedition, allowing you to quest through Dragon Isle storyline. Very similar to Threads of Fate, right? So do it on your first character, and then all your other characters will, have the ability of the Threads of Fate option, more or less. You will not be locked to one zone when you make a choice, so you're able to pick all 4 zone quest lines and then jump around between them. I like that. I am a person that likes to, on the first character, I like to do each zone fully. But then when I'm on the alts, I just want to do whatever gets them leveled fast. So, yeah. And at a point, you're going to get sick of, the rotation you do. I'm sure I'm not alone in the fact that when I level, I usually use the same kind of theme and system. I start here and there. And eventually you're going to get tired of that, especially with leveling being so fast now. World quests will also be enabled for your alts right from the start. So that'll allow you some extra experience and gear while you're questing. Dragon riding for the alts has been a question. So once your alts get the Dragon Owls adventuring system unlocked, they will gain access to the dragon riding talents, and the glyphs will be account-wide. Collect all 48 available glyphs on one character, and you'll be able to unlock all dragon riding talents for your alts for faster leveling. Okay, so my goals, my accomplishments, pretty much all my goals have been in Classic for the past, I would say, month. So yeah, I still play retail, of course, but I have no goals in retail right now. I was excited to get the release date for the expansion. Even although I have Dragonflight, I'm still iffy about it. I still don't like dragon riding. I am not big fan of the Dracthyr. Now with this new loot system, I'm not very happy with that. Like, I'm just gonna come straight out and say it. I only am gonna play for my druid. You know, like, if it wasn't for the fact that I've had my druid for 18 years, I don't even think we'd be playing Dragonflight. Yeah, like, I am not too impressed in anything, but I was excited to hear the release date because I am excited for new content. So, whether it's good or bad, whatever, it's still new content. So, I am excited for that. As for my plans for going into Dragonflight, I'm gonna be completely honest. The only thing I'm banking on right now is leveling my druid to max, and then doing whatever else is in Dragonflight. I feel like all they're ever really talking about is dragon riding, and there's the new zones, but there's nothing real cool going on. You know, it's a very, very simple, and I get that that was kind of what they were going for, but it's a little too simple, in my opinion. I need something cool to be part of this expansion, you know? And I haven't seen that yet. You know, there's been nothing that stands out that makes me real excited to play. So, with that said, I think we're just gonna level, do some mount farming, and I'm having a blast in Classic. So there's a real good chance that I spend the next 2 years playing more Classic than retail, honestly. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it'd be 2 years, but I'm leveling right now. I do want to do some raids. I want to gear my druid, and even although it's content I've done before, it's still more interesting to me than Dragonflight. So that is why I think that we might actually be playing more Classic than retail, just because retail's bad when you're over in Classic playing something that you already played the fuck out of 10 years ago, and that's still more exciting than Dragonflight. So yeah, that's kind of the plan at the moment. If they bring something real cool out in Dragonflight, maybe that'll change. But at the moment, it's gonna be leveling and mount farming and all that over there, and then whatever in Classic, and maybe some other games. I don't know. This might be the start of being more casual. You know, to be honest, I already have started that way. Shadowlands had me so fucking bored that I created a whole other YouTube channel. You know, like, yeah, I wasn't even just doing gaming anymore. You know, so yeah, I think the next couple of years might be, a lot of different things coming from my side of the world. And yeah, as far as goals, I'm still leveling my druid in Classic. She's level 76 right now, and at the time of me recording this anyway. And I want to get to 80, and then the raids are coming out really soon, so I'll probably start gearing to get myself ready in the raids. In retail, we're gonna have the 50% experience buff, so I'm gonna be doing some retail as well. So for those that have missed the retail content, that will be coming back in, I would say, like a week or two, roughly. It really just depends on where I'm situated with the druid, because I do want to gear her and get her ready for raids. But once she's just doing raids, it's very casual over there. Okay, so on to some Wrath Classic news. So over on the shop, there is the Wrath of the Lich King soundtrack vinyl LP set. There was a small little fix for the Northrend boxes. These boxes, I'm surprised they're still in there because you get them off every quest while you're leveling from 70 to 80 in Wrath. And they are putting the alchemists out of business pretty much because these boxes have like several different types of flasks. I've been banking them over on my mage. She's just holding on to them for my alts when they level. And because of that, Blizzard decided to start adding some profession stuff into them, like ore, leather, cloth, herbs, and gems. But you're still getting a lot of flasks. So alchemists, you might want to not specialize in flasks. Maybe specialize in transmutes or something. Okay, so this week I have a couple of non-WoW things to also mention to you guys. So the first one is that Diablo 4 invites have gone out. So check your emails. You might actually have an invite for the Diablo 4 closed beta. If you do have it, it won't be available yet. They're gonna open up testing on October 11th. And more importantly to note, at least for now, just to be on the safe side, they have mentioned that any streamers or content creators cannot share the closed beta stuff. Apparently, they're going to allow us to share it in open beta. So if you are a content creator and you have access to the closed beta, do not stream it, do not YouTube it. And do not tweet about it or put it on Instagram. Basically, don't share any screenshots. Okay, and the final piece of news I have for you guys this week is Overwatch 2. So Overwatch 2 releases on October 4th, which is tomorrow. And this will actually be free to play. So you will be able to play that for free. There's going to be cross progression, so you can access the game and join your friends for free. There's going to be a new seasonal model. So this is it on screen here. And you can see it's going to start with 3 new heroes, 6 new maps, 30 plus skins. There's a new battle pass, a new mythic skin, a new game mode. And that's for October 4th. And in December 6th will be the Season 2 that's going to have another new tank hero, a new map, 30 plus new skins, a new battle pass, and a new mythic skin. And then in the third row you can see what they plan on doing for the future seasons. So major points of Overwatch 2 will be the free-to-play live service. PvP will be a thing. It's going to be 5v5. And that will have new and reworked heroes, new maps and modes. The seasonal model, which would be free updates every 9 weeks. And cross-progression, so you can play across multiple game platforms. So you'll be able to play on your PC, your Xbox, your Switch, your PS4, or wherever Overwatch is. I believe it's on everything. And then there is also PvE stuff where you're gonna push through a story mode, and that begins in 2023, so we wouldn't see that right away. Overwatch 2 will go live at 12 p.m. Pacific time on October 4th. You will need SMS protection in order to play. And the first original Overwatch will no longer be available to play starting at 9 a.m. Pacific on October 3rd, which is today. Players who own the first Overwatch will receive Kiriko through the Founders Pack, which is claimed by logging into Overwatch 2 before the end of Season 2. And that is the news, guys. So I hope you enjoyed. Have a great week playing WoW and maybe Overwatch 2. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.